So I'm representing the Republican Party,
And I'm representing the Democratic Party.
and we came to debate about the different issues that are going on around at this time of the year. And we're gonna start off by saying the origins and how it started. So, you can go.
So in the beginning there was a pre-party era, and the pre-party was basically the 4, if not 3, founding fathers, and especially George Washington. He believed in his farewell address that there should be no political party because it will only cause further divisions within the country, a country that he helped build into one. So he thought the idea having parties is gonna separate, and then it was just not gonna be that good of a community anymore.
And then we start off with the Republicans, which they started off by the beliefs of the Whig Party, which was from 1824 to 1850, and they opposed the supreme powers, and they didn't believe they wanted tyrannical action, and they wanted the National Bank to start, so they were fighting for those rights, and they wanted to build those national banks. Then they also had canals that they wanted to transport water to different parts of their area where they lived. And then they opposed the growth of executive power. And then some additional things to say is they prevented someone from winning an election. And also, they couldn't agree on issues of slavery because some people wanted to support it, some other people didn't want to support it.
And then that also kind of caused separations within parties. Because we started off with the Federalists and the Democratic Republics, and just because of issues, they ended up splitting. And that we see that I believe it was the Whigs that ended up splitting, and some of the southern Whigs go to the Republican side, and some of the northern Whigs go to the Democratic side. So it's just that shift. And I mean, obviously, maybe within other parties, they also split it, but it hasn't really been out there. But what we do know is yes, parties did split. Those old parties that eventually ended, they just went to either Democratic or Republican side, and who started off the Democratic Party was Andrew Jackson, and he was called a jackass, so that's why he has the donkey as the Democratic. But we started from him, which was kind of we were for slavery and stuff like that, which thank you FDR. He was a Democratic, and we traced our roots. All the Democrats trace our roots to federal, I don't know his name, but FDR. We trace our roots to him because he modernized, he made the Democratic Party better. So to what we are, advocating for. And, there's been good representatives from the Democratic Party like Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and then the Republican Party, it was called the Lincoln Party because he started with that party, and then anybody else, it's Lincoln who started it, and then anybody else that falls into the Lincoln Party, Republican Party.
Yeah, so a little bit more about the Republican Party was that they were anti-slavery, they didn't support it at all, and now they wanted limited government because they didn't want to they didn't want people to take part in the government. It just wanted to be all in the government. And now the business and the economics, well, they wanted that to be more for them as well. They didn't want to actually spread it anywhere else and to other people.
Yeah.
And they also had low taxes and a strong military, which helped them to be better in the war. But the other party, which is the Democratic, they didn't want that. And he will talk about that a little bit later.
So the Democratic Party, kind of to touch bases on what Adolfo said, we were back then with the Andrew Jacksonian era that we were for slavery. Eventually we changed beliefs, thank you to FDR. We tend to be progressive, we never tend to be in an old-fashioned way. We tend to kind of start trends, be new, make big impacts, make big changes, and that could be seen up to now. We want the government's help. We need the government's help to function. We're very liberal as well. So there's also that spectrum where where everyone falls. If you fall left, liberal, I believe, and if you fall right,
then you're Republican.
yeah. And it's just like it's just who you are and like. So at the end, it's just where do you fall on the spectrum and where your beliefs and values are put at.
Okay. So now, since we have covered all of that, we will now talk about 3 major political issues, which are abortion, gay marriage, and the death penalty. So what the Republicans think about the gay marriage is that they don't support it. They want just a man and a female to just get married. They don't want any like new traditions. I mean, they want to stay traditional. They don't want anything new that they might like think it's bad, or they just don't want. They want to stay traditional and they don't want anything else.
And then with the Democratic side, we're against that. We believe that it should be a man, a woman, a woman, man. It really doesn't matter. It's up to like the person. We have that strong, that progression of belief that it's like if you want to marry with that person, go ahead and marry with that person.
And for abortion, we think that it is pro-choice. So if the woman thinks that they should abort, it is their choice. And we just say that whatever they believe in and whatever they want is right for us.
And here's where I stop you, because you're wrong. Republicans are pro-life, so they want the women to keep the babies, as the Democrats are pro-choice. So we tend to be more flexible, and if you want to keep the baby, go for it. If you don't, you don't have to. But we're pro-choice, they're pro-life.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the last topic is going to be the death penalty, and basically the Republicans, we believe that the death penalty should happen no matter the situation or the person. It should just happen even if the person hasn't been thoroughly interrogated, but it should just happen because we just believe that, and we don't want any bad people in our world.
And then for the Democratic side, we oppose to that beliefs of the Republican side. We think that there shouldn't be a death penalty, but so there is a constant battle between the Republicans and then the Democrats, and who's right, who's not right. And at the end, it's just where you stand religious-wise and your faith-wise.
And yeah, that's basically
it. 3 locations, 3 topics. We're done. Democrat,
Republican.
bye.